All right, this will be a fun one. I got Zach Steubing on from Ghost Firearms Training. And Ghost Firearms Training does like mile long shoots, a lot of precision rifle shooting, and just kind of trains people to shoot long range. They're out in Pennsylvania, and they actually bring people in from like New York, all over the country to learn to shoot long range. And they also do more advanced courses as well. I'm kind of kicking around flying out there maybe with my COO and doing some training with you guys. Because
Absolutely.
I shoot some of the NRL matches and PRS matches, and I've been doing some weekend courses out here in San Diego, learning. And man, I feel like it's one of those things where you can never learn enough when it comes to ballistics and long range. And it's just one of those things where you just got to get range time. But taking a course like with you guys really, not only does it cut the learning curve in half, but it also saves you a bunch of money, man. Because these bullets aren't cheap.
Yeah, that is true. Hey, I'm excited to be here and talk to you. Yeah, been with Ghost Firearms for 6 years, long range instructor. We teach pretty much anybody. I mean, beginners up to people who are already competing. We don't care who you are. We give you guidelines like, hey, we want you to at least hold an inch group when you're showing up. Like we want people that are a little bit squared away, but you show
Yeah.
up. We don't care if you've shot 50 yards or 500 yards. We'll have you hitting 1,000 on the first day, a little bit after lunch. Generally before lunchtime, we have you at 800 yards. We break. Jackson, the owner, he cooks everybody lunch. Burgers, dogs, chicken, whatever he's got lined up. And we break from lunch, and right after lunch, 9 1,000, we'll have you usually about 1 o'clock on the first day, and it blows some people's minds how quickly we can get you up there shooting, hitting targets out to 1,000.
Yeah, and you're very qualified. Like you, before you started hunting animals and stuff, you were hunting folks in the military, right? You went through sniper school, right? In what
Yep.
2014, you said?
Yeah. So I joined the military in 2014. I was a Marine. Was infantry for about a year. Did my first deployment as an 11 rifleman, and then at the tail end of my deployment, I went through what's called an indoc. It's basically just a tryout. Got selected into a sniper platoon in 2000, I believe it was 2016. Went to school 2017, early after the actually January 1st, I started school. It's 3 months. Graduated sniper school in March of 2017. Did my second deployment with 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines. Loved my job, loved the guys I was working with, and it ignited that passion of shooting long range, and I just got addicted, and every chance I could get I was reading books, shooting as much as I can, and obviously doing what we did. We got to do some cool shooting, got to shoot in some cool places, shot past a mile, shooting the 50s. We were actually the first platoon in the entire Marine Corps to be given the 300 Win Mag, which was kind of a big
Yep.
stepping stone
From the
because
308.
stuck at 308 and a 50 with nothing in between, and it was
Yeah.
it was bad. So we were actually the first platoon. They sent four of them to us. We took them to 29 Palms and we did some training with them. And we were all writing letters, all of us, hey, we need more of these. These are awesome because it gets us off of 308 and into something a little bit bigger.
Yeah, it's a because I'm actually a really big 308 fan and 300 Win Mag fan. I'm kind of stuck on the 30-06 right now, honestly, but they all shoot the same bullet. It just gives you a little more power, and I'm not like I think a 300 Win Mag is pretty much all you really need. I don't think you need to go to like a 300 PRC or any of these like mega cartridges. A 300 Win Mag it does a lot.
It does. It really does. There are differences coming into calibers. Like a 308, you're going to shoot like a 175 grain round. It's
Hmm.
coming out at like 2,500 feet per second. Like you're not
Yep.
talking about a fast round. And
Yep.
stepping at 300 Win Mag, you're going to pick up bullet size. You're going to shoot a 200, 220s. Like you can get a bigger bullet moving a lot faster. Obviously, you're going to have a lot
Hmm.
more recoil. The nice part with the 300 PRCs and these newer
Yeah.
calibers is if you've ever looked at a 300 Win Mag, there's a little belt right at the base of the
Yep.
round. That's what your spacing is built off of, is that belted cartridge. Okay. Now the 300 PRC is a modern caliber, and what they're spacing off of is where the casing comes up and necks down onto what's called the shoulder. Then it
Mhm.
comes into the neck. The shoulder is what it's going to be spaced off of on these newer cartridges. All it does is it makes it more of an accurate seating depth, so it
Mhm.
potentially is more of an accurate cartridge in general. But I've shot plenty of 300 Win Mags that are just one hole in paper at 100. I mean, it just, you get what you get. So,
Yeah, I like that 30 nozzler too. I've done a lot of that. It's funny because you start shooting, you start seeing the difference between like a 30 nozzle, 300 PRC and like a 308. Like 300 at 400 yards, you shoot 308 rings of steel. You shoot 300 PRC and it knocks my target over.
oh,
Right? Like
absolutely.
it's like there's just a lot more oomph with the 220 grain bolt that's coming out at 2,900 feet per second.
Yep.
I actually load all my two boys and my two older boys and my two partners. I have them all shooting 308s at 168 grain TTSX, and they're all coming in
Yep.
around like 2650. Somewhere between 26 and 26, depending on the gun. Honestly,
Yeah.
same load. Some of them are shooting 2600, some are shooting 2700. And
Hmm.
it seems just to do everything I need to do out to 500 yards. It's just a great caliber, and it doesn't kick the crap out of them. And I'm a big fan of frontal diameter and heavy for caliber bullets. Um, it just seems like when you put one of those 308 bullets into an animal, whether it be an elk down to a coyote, it just works.
Oh, it works. It tried and true. 308 has always been God's caliber. Shot thousands upon thousands of rounds of it. It works. It always works. The only difference is you have to know how to shoot to make it work at
Yeah,
distance. That those velocities of these Magnum calibers, 300 PRCs, Win Mags, 30-06 like they're getting that more velocity. The higher in velocity you get, the less deviation you have on vertical spread at distance. So that 308 might be dropping 48 inches. That 300
yeah,
PRC and 300 Win Mag are only dropping 20 inches. That just
24, 20.
makes,
Yeah,
yeah, it makes it a
yeah.
lot easier to hit those
It,
further targets.
and honestly, for me, it's not even so much that vert; it's that horizontal. Right? You start getting into some of those big 215 grain, 220 grain burgers, and a 30 nozzler, and it's just bucking the wind. I mean, even when
Oh
I'm
yeah.
shooting, like I've had some times in the desert where we're shooting 25-mile-per-hour winds, and I'm holding like 15-foot right with this 260 Remington, which is essentially a 6.5 Creedmoor. And those freaking, those 30 nozzlers putting that big 220 grain bullet out there, and they're holding, half the distance because it's just
Oh,
bucking the
absolutely.
wind. So you really start bucking the wind. The more that bullet starts slowing down, the more you're getting, things drifting on you. And they
Yep.
really do a lot. But for hunting, I'm a really big 308 fan, honestly, because I feel like it's all you really need for most guys to get out there and go hunting and get a lot of rounds down range. Um, at the same time, like, are we seeing a shift in the military at all? Because you're kind of out now. Now they've once Trump got in, they kind of made sure you can make all these new calibers. Do you
Yeah.
think you're going to see these guys, these snipers, starting to shoot 6.5s and stuff like that? Are they doing that on there already or no?
There's I'm not in the loop as much as I used to be. There are different branches stepping into different rifles and
Hmm.
calibers for primary carries. There's guys who are already carrying 300 Win Mags. I think the Navy was carrying them before we were. The Marine Corps started carrying them, and to the best of my knowledge, like they are generally going to move in the right direction. The only hard part is, it's military, which is military grade, which is lowest bidder. So to them, they had a stockpile of 308. So at that point, when I was in, they weren't really looking to get rid of 308. Will they eventually? I think they will. I think they'll start coming around. They're just behind the curve. It's all it is. They're teaching how to shoot on a great platform. I mean, the M40 is a phenomenal platform. You learn on the M110, which is our semi-automatic weapon. It's still a 308, 20 round box mag. It's capable out to 800. I mean, we push them to 1,000.
The
But it,
same freaking grand they were using in World War II.
yeah, yeah, it's
Yep.
175 grain Sierra Match King. I mean, it's a tried and true caliber, tried and true round. It works. It's just easier to do it with a 300 Win Mag or even a 6.5 Creedmoor. I mean,
6.5
you're not
Creedmoor. Yeah,
get you're
that's
not
where I
getting
was
as
going with
much
it. I wanted to
hit.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting as much of an impact with it. You're shooting 140s, 143s, or like the little sweet spot. You can get like a 147. You get a little more velocity out of it, but the BC's higher, so that bullet's gonna it's going to buck wind better. It's going to fly a lot
Yeah.
nicer. They're just nicer.
Yeah.
But you know, you're apples to oranges. I mean, which one's going to hit harder? 308's got more mass. 6.5 is going to have a little more velocity. At some point, the 6.5 is going to overtake it at distance, I would assume. But I mean, it's the same way across any caliber, though. I mean, are you willing to shoot a 300 Win Mag and have a little more kick, or you can shoot a 308 or I shoot a 6 mil Creed. I mean, that's 3,000 feet per second with a 108 grain round, but the wind is just non-existent. That bullet is so efficient in the wind, it's like cheating.
Yeah, I'm shooting that same 108 in my that 108 Burger in my six dasher. Not going
Okay,
that
yeah,
fast, but it's going like I think 28. I got top of my head 2800 or something like that, or 27,
yeah,
2800, something like that. But yeah, it's like a cheat code, right? You can shoot that
oh
gun
yeah,
super far, slower, do things. I'm actually tempted to do like a little six dasher for my kid, but I'm actually doing my Seekins is building my kid a rifle right now, and it's going to be a 6.5 Creedmoor. But they have
okay.
the new, and I've actually been pretty stuck on the 308 for my kids because honestly, I just understand ballistics well enough, and I understand hunting well enough to know like 400 yards and is pretty much all you really need, especially with a kid. And
It is the
and
truth. I mean, through eight will do it. Through eight will
308 and
always do it.
308 will do it right. And it's when I start stretching past that, right? And even with 308 will do out to 500 yards all day long. But the Creedmoor is just it's a really nice cartridge. It's hard to beat. We shot every animal you could imagine in Africa with a 6.5 Creedmoor
Yeah.
and had
Oh, absolutely.
no
I mean,
issues whatsoever.
there's guys hunting elk with a 243 and 270s. I mean, you can do it. To me, it's all shot placement, which as long as you can hold the group at a distance, you can shoot that distance in the woods. Some guys get a little overzealous and I hit 1,000 yard steel. That means I'm going to shoot out to 1,000 in the woods. It's like God, you're hitting a 24-inch gong at 1,000 one every two or three shots. Like you got to keep it ethical. You got to keep something that's one going to do the amount of damage you need, but two, it's also shooter of what's your ability.
Yeah, I just know, like I always say, like once you get past that 420 yard, that quarter mile mark, things just start going. You could dial anything for elevation, right?
Yeah.
It's the wind that gets people. They don't get it, and it's the crosswinds, it's the cross canyon stuff.
Mhm.
Um, what turned me off, and I shoot a lot. I mean, I must have shot 2,000 rounds of 6.5, 143 grain Creedmoors this year. I shoot a lot, and I was out hunting elk 2 years ago and had a guy just shoot like a box of ammo at a spike. I mean, just missing like from like 1,000 yards away over our heads. I mean, like we weren't even shooting this animal. And I went out and I bought a $800 Woodstock 30-06 2 years ago, and I've been shooting it for every hunt since.
Yeah.
And it's just like I'm just like, man, like I can make it happen. I could close 1,000 yards, right? Like if you can't close 1,000 yards, something is wrong with you. Like it's just
Absolutely.
something is wrong with you.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I understand 500-600 yards sometimes, like especially in some of this bear country in Idaho, right? Or some of the Coos country I hunt in Mexico where it's just big canyons, right? I understand it. But even then, you could close it. We just gotten to a point now where like, oh, I could dial that and
Yeah,
I can shoot it.
yeah, I agree. Because even I shoot a lot. I shoot distance a lot. Me, even on something bigger like an elk, I'm limiting myself to like 700 would be a big stretch. Generally, on like an elk, I'd be 600 and in. Like that's where
So
I
are
feel
you
like I can get wind, direction, and speed. I mean, you're shooting in a brand new environment, brand new range per se. Like you're making 100% fresh wind call on something, and you have to hit a milk jug. Like you got to be in that sweet spot, and that's not as easy as people think it is. I mean, they shoot guys that come to the range. They'll shoot the range. They'll shoot it for 2 days, and the range is very basic. Like the wind is 90% of the time we have one direction of wind. Sometimes we'll get a switch, and on a bad day we'll have a head or a tailwind. And then the days of a head or a tailwind, guys are like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. And I'm like, well, this is why if you ever go hunting or do anything long range, this is where you learn that wind is it. It's the only thing that separates the good from the bad, the expert from the beginner.
I would argue that if you're going to shoot past 600 yards, you should have a kestrel on animals.
I
I would argue.
would
I would make that
absolutely
argument
agree.
because you start getting. That's why I always say like that 500-yard mark's pretty easy. You can make it happen, and you could be a little marginally off and be fine. But when you start getting out there, and when you start looking into barometric pressures, wind, temperature, it really starts mattering when you get past that 600-yard mark. It
Oh,
really starts.
yeah,
So, are you? Here's
big
my
time.
question. So, are you one of these six Creedmoor elk guys too now?
Uh, I would not shoot an elk with a six Creed.
Oh, thank God! Thank
I would
God you're
not
not
do
that
it.
guy.
I'm actually in the process right now. I got myself included. We have six guys going out west. We're actually, for the first time ever, we're talking about doing a guided rifle elk hunt.
Mhm.
I've always grown up with a bow. We've always done the archery muzzleloader overlap in Colorado. That way, whoever wants, if you draw the muzzleloader tag, you get a muzzleloader. You draw the bow, you get a bow. Whatever you want. And we're talking about doing rifles, so we're like, okay, let's push the hunt to 2026. We'll buy rifles this year. So I'm in the process of doing all my research and figuring out a company to go with for a lightweight rifle. uh, I'm looking at 300 PRC. The
Attaboy.
ammo's nice and established. It's a big round. You can get 212 grain rounds, like 28, 2850, depending on barrel length. It's just a hammer. And if I'm shooting something that weighs 1,000 pounds, I don't want to shoot it with a small caliber. Like big target, big caliber.
Dude, I'm so glad to hear you say that because right now the big push is like now. Now, what about your bullet? Are you a match bullet guy or are you a solid core guy?
It
Are you shooting
it's
an
tough.
ELDX or a Barnes, or are you shooting a Burger at that, or an
I'm gonna
ELDM?
sound like a long range guy right now. I'm gonna shoot whatever groups out of my gun the
What
best.
or shoots your gun the best?
I have an AR that
Which is
shoots
fair.
trash ammo like it's its job. My 6 mil Creed shoots Hornady Black, like the slowest 6 mil ammo there is, like 5 rounds inside a thumbnail at 100. Like it's just one hole.
Mhm.
If it shoots it, it shoots it. My 6 mil Creed across the board, it's running slow. It's 29.95 on average. Like Jackson, the owner of Ghost, he shoot at like 3,100 feet per second. I'm over 100 feet per second slower, but I
But
can't
you're shooting
give
good.
up. I'm gonna get a little bit more barrel life, but that gun just likes that ammo, and that's the biggest thing. Is these, like, some guys go out and they get these new rifles, they break them in, a 100 round break in, they start shooting, and the gun's not grouping worth a hell, and they're like, I don't know why my gun's not grouping. It's like, well, did you try new ammo? They're like, well, no, I'm shooting really good ammo. It's like, your gun might not like that ammo. Your gun
Yeah.
might like a different brand or a different weight. Everything changes. That twist in the barrel, like, everything changes with one little detail.
Yeah, man. Bullets are. I love this conversation. I love having this conversation with you, talking about this stuff, and talking about picking up. I love that you said you want to get a bigger bullet for a bigger animal because that's the camp I'm in, right? Like I'm gonna
Yeah,
shoot if I'm shooting an elk, I'm gonna shoot 30-06 or 308. Maybe 300 PRC, whatever I want to grab out of the safe, but probably 30-06. Honestly, I want to
yeah,
shoot a 30. All that matters to me is I'm shooting a 30 caliber bullet, not a 6 millimeter bullet at that point, because I want to have
yeah,
that damage in there. And I where I get that from a lot of times, like I love the heavier stuff, just because I like when you say bigger animal, bigger bullet, like just going to the range for me, like I said, and shooting 500 yards with a six dasher, and then shooting it with a 300 PRC, and seeing how much more
oh
authority it
yeah,
has when it gets there. You're
yeah.
like, I know that I want a big boy to hit with a big bullet. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
it
You're
just
shooting
they
something that's a
feel it
thousand
better, it does
pounds.
it better. And now again, at the same time, the argument can be made that, well, hell, I can shoot my six Creedmoor into a grapefruit at 500 yards all day long, and I can't do that with 300 PRC. Well, then we got to start looking at it. But for me, with
Yeah.
muzzle, I don't want to say I'm not a pussy, but like I'm just like when it comes to me with like recoil, like it doesn't with a muzzle brake, it doesn't really affect me what caliber I'm shooting anymore, right? You put a muzzle
You
brake
get a
on there,
good muzzle brake on anything,
my
and it's
yeah,
very manageable.
well, I did buy that Browning, and I did go spend $400 and put a custom brake on it. My friend makes custom brakes here in San Diego,
Okay.
and that gun shoots like a 243 now. I can shoot it all day long. The problem was I was going to the range. I'm like, dude, this is not enjoyable to shoot 20 times, right? And I've probably only shot in that gun. I don't think I've shot it in 4 months. It's just kind of, I don't think I've cleaned it once since I've owned it. I've just killed animals with it. You know what I mean? Got
You'd
it
be
dialed in.
amazed how little you have to clean a gun.
I'd never, dude. I'm the
Oh,
worst. I never clean my guns, dude. Like I might clean. I need to take that gun apart. I'll probably clean it this summer. I need to clean like all my guns. I haven't cleaned them. I run 1,000 rounds, 500 rounds through a gun. Like I'll run a couple matches through a gun. Like I don't clean them, dude. Like it's like I don't know. Maybe that's wrong, but
no, it's our this will get you. Our last course we just had last I think it was last month. The win so we score a whole bunch of stuff. You can win you score points and win all this stuff and all these team drills, individual drills, you gain points, and then we actually name a top shot. You get a big trophy, big plaque. It's pretty cool. The winner of the last class, we split it up 3 instructors. There's 21 shooters, so one instructor gets 7 shooters. And then whoever takes top shot, the instructor with that shooter then becomes top instructor for that class till the next one. And we have our own personal trophy we give out. The winner of the last course was on a rental gun.
really.
The number 2 shooter was his fiance or wife, I'm not sure. She was on a rental gun. He beat her by 2 points, which is less than one round. The lowest point target on the last drill is 5 points. So he beat her by less than one shot. Both rental guns, the one that she was on has over 7,000 rounds through it. I don't think we've ever put anything down the barrel once. And that rifle holds a half inch on a bad day.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how much I honestly feel like when I clean them, I screw myself. I have some guns, like my 280 Acme improved, it takes like 20 rounds to foul up again. Like
Yeah.
it takes a long time to start shooting again. Like if I clean that gun, it's all over. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Like
Now,
I
are
clean
you
that.
using copper or non-copper
I,
solvent?
I use copper, so I shoot copper. So a lot of times if I'm going to go and clean it, I'll go and like do a good scrub. Like if I go and like get like the high like corrosion, like the copper fouling stuff through it and get it really clean, it will it takes me a while to get it fouled up and start shooting
See,
good again.
I will never strip copper.
Really,
To this day, since I got out of the military, I have not stripped copper out of a single rifle I own.
you just leave it.
The only thing I'll do on like an AR, putting hundreds of rounds through it or thousands, like if the only time I'm gonna put anything down the barrel of a weapon to clean it, I'm very meticulous. I always do a pull through. I never use a hard rod unless it's coated. It's always from chamber through the muzzle in direction of travel of the round, and I will never strip copper. It is only carbon. The reason being is that copper, as you were saying, fouling, copper takes a while to foul up, and your gun is going to speed up as well as tighten up. Now that the copper is filling in, you're closing the tolerances until that barrel's back to where it wants to be. Carbon doesn't really do that. Copper is what fills it in more
Hmm.
solid. I'll strip carbon. It'll take maybe 5 rounds. A couple. We used to keep a booklet on all of our weapons. So hey, this serial number rifle gets given to this guy, this one to this guy, and you have a book for every rifle. Every rifle you go through, we would clean the rifle the exact same way. You would take your first shot, you'd write it down, take your next shot, write it down, and you would keep track of every single round until you're back to your zero. But like during qualification in sniper school, you never cleaned your rifle because the moment you clean your rifle, well, now you're on your rifle's
You're
zeroed,
smoked.
but you might be hitting half a mil to the left on your first round. Well, that might be one round drop that you need later on to pass. And it's the same with the hunting world. Like, I'm not cleaning a rifle that I know is zeroed. I know it's holding a group. I'll clean it if it starts throwing flyers or starts tumbling. Like, I'm waiting until
Yeah.
that thing shows me signs of being too dirty. Now, not to say I
I'm
won't,
very
like,
very
yeah,
similar in how I do it.
yeah, like I'll wipe the bolt down, clean it off. I'll put a little bit of oil like in the rails, like
Wipe the barrel off
um,
because you start getting those rust spots on the barrel if you're using a blued
yeah,
barrel.
hit it with a toothbrush, or a little oil, get the
I
rust
I
off
get
it.
those Remington oil rags. You know what I mean? You get like it looks like the kitchen cleaners. It comes in
Yeah,
like a you pull like a round tube and you pull it out. Those oil wipes, I'll wipe everything down. I'll wipe the scope down, wipe and throw it in the safe, right? Because like some of my guns are blued still, and they start getting it a little bit. Even some of those
yeah.
stainless will start pitting a little bit. So I just wipe them down with that and throw them in the safe. Um, but I very rarely clean my stuff, and it shows. It's everything. It's a tool for me, so it's beat up. Like my 30-06 is beat up. I love it.
Exactly.
I love that I'm just tearing that thing up. So looking at a rifle for you, dude, these new Seekins rifles for like $3,200 are
Yeah.
bitching, and they come with quick change barrels. So you can
Yeah.
quick for
So
8, and Seekins will
they're
sell you a
high up on
carbon
the.
barrel for $800. You can change that barrel out.
Yeah, and that's. I'll tell you, they were on the list. I had a couple things on the list. It was Seekins was up there, Christensen was up there, um, Fierce. Have you ever heard of them?
Pierce makes a good gun, yeah, yep.
So they're actually kind of near the top just because of what they offer for the price point. I had a checklist in mind, and I was at the point where I was almost looking into having another custom gun built. My 6 mil was a custom gun. Um, and that's where I was at. I was sitting here thinking, like, do I have to get a custom gun to get all the details that I want in these? And I just wasn't finding a company. I found Fierce has, I want a floor plate because I want an internal box mag. I do not want a removable mag. Reason being, you get out of the truck at 4 in the morning, you step out of your tent 4 in the morning to go hiking in. Well, now you got to remember a gun and a mag and your ammo. I want to get out of my tent and be like, gun. All I need, walk. That's it. I no memory. I want 4 a.m. I want it to be as simple as
So you
possible.
don't want a chassis.
Probably not. This the other thing that I want to be able to do is me personally. I like the feel of a nice sports stock. I
Mhm.
want adjustable cheek weld. That is a must-have. But I also want something that everybody could just like. I hand you a rifle. You're not intimidated. Like, oh, okay, hey, like this looks it's nicer, but it looks familiar to me. And then with our group going out west, I want everybody on at least the same caliber. That way, we're going out into the woods, and like, oh, I throw a box of ammo in my pack, my gun's loaded with 4 or 5 rounds, and we get out there, and the guy I'm hunting with goes, oh, I only got 3 rounds. Well, he starts shooting, and he's shooting a 7 mil, and I'm shooting a 300, and he goes, I only got 3 rounds. Well, what good am I to him? I want our whole group to be able to like, hey, box of ammo, go ahead, here's some rounds. And that's what I would like to be at that point.
So
That's what I'm trying to
you want it
figure
to be a
out.
factory ammo gun too then.
I want factory ammo, floor plate, adjustable cheek
So
weld.
like probably like a 212 ELDX or something or
Yeah, I'm gonna do some testing, see what we can figure out. I want to keep it a little quicker. I want to get some velocity out of it. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards like a 22 to a 24-inch barrel instead of going real short for a hunting rifle.
dude, that 195 LRX is a sick elk round if you
Yeah,
want to shoot
I'm gonna.
copper. That
Yeah,
195 Barnes
that's on
LRX
there.
would be a really good round to run through that guy. I'm a big Barnes fan. Like I mean, I make no secrets about it. I'm friends with them, and I shoot their stuff all the time.
Yeah,
We have shoot copper in California, but I shoot it all over the world. I love the Barnes stuff. I love the hammer bolts as well. I mean, they're just fast. If you
yeah.
want a
Barnes
ham
have
load,
always run good.
but
Barnes always
Barnes is a
run good.
great bolt. Those LRXs are great, and they just man, especially coming out of a gun going that fast, it's just going to fully penetrate and leave. I mean, it's going to do some damage.
Yeah,
That
I
thing's
want
gonna pedal
damage.
back. It's gonna pedal back and do some damage. I really recommend that one. Um, why pay to make a custom gun now? Why don't you just do them yourself? It's so easy to do them yourself now with all these quick change barrel systems. Like, dude, like you go get like I
It
built my last
is.
two guns
It
myself. My
is.
last two PRS and my NRL gun. Just bought a Zeus Terminus action. And then now Defiance is making these quick change actions where the barrels are pre-made for them and you can just get a pre like I don't know. My opinion is you don't need a custom gun guy anymore. You can go build your whole thing yourself. Go buy yourself a Matrix chassis or buy whatever you want, sporter stock. I bought a McMillan stock for my NRL gun and I built the whole gun myself. Took it to the range, factory ammo, prefer barrel blank on it, and I'm shooting one whole groups with factory Hornady ammo on that thing. Built it all myself.
Yeah, I no,
Why even
it
pay
it
someone anymore?
is so it is possible. That was also another part of what I was looking into was build my own stuff. Could I do it? Yes. Having the ability to go to someone who they have all the discounts, they have the machining to do some of these more detailed stuff. A lot of the newer stuff is just bolt together and
pre
you're good.
pre-fit. Yeah, dude, you don't even have to do
Yeah,
it. Like you don't even have to get a reamer anymore. You can order it reamed out with the head like my NRL gun. I had them. They I don't know what I can't remember what it's called, but they basically ream it out a little bit more in there for the longer bullets, right? For the 6.5s, so they
Yep.
make it a little bit. So they'll even do that stuff for you. I mean, straight prefer barrel blanks is bitching. Like I love those guys prefer barrel blanks, and they get you a barrel back in like
Yeah.
6 weeks. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to talk you out of buying.
No,
I'm
no, I
also
know.
all for. I'm also all for buying. Dude, have you looked at Weatherby? Weatherby makes a
Yes, that
badass mountain
so
rifle.
they've been
Badass mountain
stepping up
rifle.
their game in the recent couple years. They've been
100%.
they've been coming back from it. I feel like for a little while there they kind of fell behind, and other companies were really starting to like take the lead in these newer styled like hunting rifles, long range rifles. Weatherby made a comeback. We've actually
They're
seen a
making
couple of them in
some
the
really
course.
nice rifles. I know they were using proof research. I think they just switched barrel manufacturers, had some issues with proof. But they're making some high end rifles. They probably even have a box plate type style rifle. I almost imagine. I can't remember what their rifles are called, but I just say that because like I hunt with like Brad Hunt, Mark Livesey, and those guys, and they're all Weatherby guys,
Yeah,
and they make a nice rifle, dude. It's one to look at up there. It's up there with
they
the
do.
Fierce and the Seekins right now. And I'm just a big even the freaking Brownings, dude. Like the Browning Hell's Canyons are great rifles. You buy their higher end
I've
ones.
shot a couple of them. Uh, and not that I hated it. It shot pretty good. It that one didn't really blow my socks off for
Really?
some reason. Yeah, I had a couple buddies that were heading out last year, heading out west. They're three brothers. They all had the exact same rifle, 300 Win Mags, and they're like, "Hey, can you come over and like we went to our buddy's farm, and I think we got it out to 700 yards. I think it was like 750. They shot decent, but then like I put my gun on the line and I'm putting a 2 3 inch group on like 5 600 yards. Like it just the
Yeah.
accuracy wasn't quite there. No,
Yeah.
it's not my gun, so I don't know if what the ammo they're using in comparison to a different ammo, different weight. Like
Yep.
that's on you guys as having that gun. They have to figure that out. What uh what ammo is gonna fly the best for them?
Ammo is the X factor, man. People don't realize it's the ammo choice is so important, and that's why I love ballistics. I love reloading. I love just calibers, and even though I am pretty simple in like what I shoot, like I love figuring out what bullet works best. And,
Yeah.
and and like I like what you were saying in the beginning, like you're gonna shoot in 20, your partner's gonna shoot in 31. I'm more of a accuracy and slower guy than a speed guy, right?
I like to chase that speed if I can get it. But if I
Hmm.
can't get it and the gun doesn't like that ammo, I'm not giving up accuracy. I want accuracy. I can
Yeah,
dial for that speed. That's no problem.
yeah. I mean, there's nodes, and honestly, an animal doesn't care if you hit it at 2,200 feet per second versus 2,100 feet per second. It doesn't matter at that point. The
You
bullet's gonna
just
do what it needs to
need
do.
damage. I need damage.
That's why I'm big on frontal diameter and heavy for caliber bullets. All right, and we're back. Sorry, man. This freaking coffee's going through me over here. This pod's too good to. I know if I didn't do it now or to get another topic, I'll never do it. So cool. We kind of went through hunting. What I wanted to kind of talk about too is like just because you're a firearms trainer, right? You bring guys in, you get them 1,000 yards first day. Um, let's talk about that. Like entry level coming into it. What's the first issues people are making when it comes to shooting a gun? Is it body position? Is it not accurately getting their gun sighted in? Like what are like what's kind of like basics long range shooting?
Tell you the truth, body position's usually pretty big. Generally, no one understands recoil management to the point where you need to be perfectly square behind the rifle. Like you need to be in line, straight in line. Your rifle should draw a straight line from your dominant shoulder through that side, like your butt cheek. Like it should draw a straight line, legs flat, heels and toes down, like nice and flat with your feet. Like everything needs to be nice and square. Because if you're offset a little bit, well, your rifle's recoil that's coming straight back is going to go to path of least resistance. So if your
Yep.
body is off to the one side, your rifle is going to jump to that weak side. So like body position's huge, and we see that a lot.
So I
Another
one thing
one,
the best way that was described to me because like when I get onto a gun, I get into a push up position and get to a push up right behind the gun.
yep,
And the best way this has been described if people are listening is imagine you're stepping on a soda can or a beer can, whatever. You smash it, goes straight down. Well, now imagine you step on it sideways and it kicks sideways. You
Bing
want to
comes
be
out.
you comes out, right? You want to be a square beer can. So when you step on it or you hit that gun, it goes straight back. So you want to get your what I
Yes.
do is I get like my whatever my nipple over the back of the gun in a push-up position, and I'll come down straight behind it. And then you're gonna kick your rear legs out wide and flatten those suckers out where your toes are pointing out away. And
Yep.
so many times, I don't know if it's because of the movies or what, people lay down and their body is like one like a pencil and it's
They do one
sideways
of
to the
them.
gun. It's
Oh yeah.
sideways to the gun. And like that might work for your first shot, and I get it. Like, I mean, I shot some animals this year in Africa, and I was like, you just there was no laying flat. It was like I had a rock in my up my freaking butt, and I was crooked, because the only way I can get into these rocks to shoot. But you want to be as square as possible to that gun, whether you're kneeling, low kneeling, standing, squatting, or prone. You want to be square to the rifle, so when you step on that beer
Yeah.
can, it goes straight back.
Yep. Recoil management is huge, and it becomes even more prevalent shooting off of tripods. I love shooting off of tripods because I put it up all the time. Like you will almost never get to shoot in a perfect prone position, especially hunting, long range. Like, cool, go to the range, do your prone work, dude. You got to train that tripod work. You got to be shooting in the sitting, the kneeling, the
Dude, that's where
standing.
this bipod comes in, dude. I'm telling you.
Yup.
I have not
Game
found a position.
changer.
I have not found a position in the field that I cannot do with this bipod yet. It
Game
is
changer.
game changer for hunting. Game changer for hunting, for
Yes.
getting those. And we've gone out and done a bunch of field testing and shooting together now with multiple people where you're like, you just never shoot off of a bench when you're hunting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're not carrying a bench on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to get square and you got to go practice, man. So like when you guys are doing your field testing, are you guys bringing these guys in and just having them shoot off benches, or are you guys doing all kinds of weird positions as well?
So, depending on the course that we're running, we run a 1.0, 1.5, a 2.0, which we've kind of intermingled with a hunter course. So, it's a 2.0
Mhm.
hunter, and then we run a shooter spotter course. So, like the 1.0 course and the 1.5, you're in the prone. It's we tell you bring 200 rounds, you're shooting for 2 days, you shoot strictly in the prone. Now, this is like our beginner level stuff. Like, if you've only ever shot 50 yards, with a 22, like we don't care. As long as you can hold a 1 inch group, you can rent rifles from us. We have ammo that you can purchase. Like we have everything that you need. You just got to show up and have fun. So like that course, more of not so much as safety reasons. Like it makes it much safer. Every rifle never moves. They just stay on the line. You get behind your rifle when you're up. And that's all prone. Now, when we go to the Hunter and the 2.0 course, which is my favorite course we teach, hands down, it is so much fun for me because we get to teach people like, okay, hey, you should already know how to shoot in the prone because we've taught most of these people before or they're experienced shooters. Now we get to start playing with like, okay, let's shoot off of a pack, let's shoot off of a tripod, let's shoot off of a barricade, let's shoot off a rooftop. So we have all these things set up and we teach you like, okay, let's build a stable position using what you have. And I tell people, they ask all the time, like, what do I need to bring? I say, bring your entire hunting loadout. Bring your entire shooting loadout if you're a PRS guy. Bring everything you got because you might get up to a tripod shot where we're like, okay, hey, we're shooting this stage from the standing. We're going to shoot these targets from the kneeling. And you're like, well, I've never done that before. Well, okay, let's figure out what works for you. Me, I always use a sling. I utilize a sling to apply down pressure into the rear two legs of my tripod. So in anything but this, actually, I can try and do it in the sitting. It's harder in the sitting, but kneeling and standing, I'm using a sling. Like some people don't do that, but
You want a
that's
cheat code? You want a cheat code for backpack hunting?
yeah. What's that?
Rear trekking pole support.
Yes. So trekking
Dude,
poles
a
are
trekking pole in
huge.
the back, dude, like it's a cheat code. Go out to the range on a tripod and then throw a trekking pole in the rear. And you could do it. I don't even do mine under the gun. I put it up against the side of it. I'm
Well,
not a
you
big,
can pinch.
I can pitch.
You can.
Just like I was doing a rear
Yes.
tripod, just like I'm doing a rear tripod, but I do it with the
Yep.
trekking pole. And dude, like that's a cheat code off a tripod. You can do it
Oh
standing and
yeah.
it's going to make you so much more accurate. The rear trekking pole support, we all have trekking poles in our bag, even off of off the bipod. If I'm sitting, throw a trekking pole in the rear, it's a game changer for shooting accuracy.
Yeah, because trekking poles are awesome, and it's the same with a tripod. If you're shooting off of anything other than your tripod, if you just extend your tripod a little bit and use one leg,
Yep.
bring that in, and you put the rifle and the tripod together, and you hold that as your rear support, and then whatever you're using as a front support, whether it's a stump, your bipods, those
Yep.
bipods are key because you can get them so high. You can
Hmm.
shoot sitting or kneeling with those and then utilize anything as rear support, a pack, trekking pole,
Yeah.
a tripod,
I
anything you
used to do
got.
the pack, but then once I figured out the trekking pole, it's so much easier
It's
because the
quick
pack,
too.
it's quick and you can adjust the height of it. With the pack, you're like kind of like trying to get this big bulky thing. A trekking
Yeah.
pole, you can be in any position. You could be in a bush and put a trekking pole in there and get it to fit in there.
And
I would
they're long enough. They're
They're
long
long
enough
enough to
that
do.
no matter how tall you get,
Yeah,
you can always get that to the back of your gun.
and you can angle enough to give you, like, that proper support. I would almost argue that a rear support is as important, if not more important than a front support.
Yes. It's close.
Front
I would
more.
still have to say front because even without rear support, I can shoot standing off a tripod
Yeah.
with only myself. And like I shoot 1,000 yards at our range all the time from the standing. You just have to know how to do it. And that's what's cool about the 2.0 and our hunter course is we have like an entire half of a day where we just like we go to a certain part on the range and we just like okay get out what you got. This is what when we bring all our stuff like one of our instructors Trevor is a PRS nut. He
He's got
makes me feel
every
silly.
bag you can imagine. He's the guy I'm building my tripods for.
One
Those
bag.
guys are the
He
biggest
does
gear dorks.
one bag.
One bag,
He
huh?
run game changer. It's all he carries. Now, granted, he has other bags. He uses one bag. He uses a game changer for his rear support, even front support when he puts it up on like a barricade or a rooftop. He uses one bag. He is a machine. He takes PRS to a simpler spot, which I love of how he is able to make it so easy for just like an everyday person, but he makes it look so natural. And then like he's really good on like the barricades and all this. He's very quick and he's efficient. I'm better on like tripod work. That's what I learned was tripod. It was you're carrying a tiny little tripod around. As long as I can get it up to like nipple chest height, that's as high as I go for the standing position. As long as I can get to my chest, I'm good. That's it. I can shoot any distance I need to.
Really? Yeah, I love the PR stuff. I think it's a good way to go out and learn. It's in the NRL. You go out and do those matches, and they're going to
Oh
be.
yeah.
I have not been to one where anyone's like, "Oh, you suck." They're going to teach you how to do it, and you learn how to do it. Um, so rear support. Let's talk about that too, because we're talking about hunting, right? And I don't carry a bag when I hunt. Do you carry? Are you? I What I use for my rear support is either a puffy or I love using my bino harness. And I'll do the bino harness sideways or the bino harness flat, or I'll even do a bino harness and like a range pouch, like whatever rangefinder to do it. Do you carry a bag?
So it depends on the type of hunt I'm on. Elk hunt, I am 99.9% of the time I am carrying a pack. I have a full frame pack, but
No,
it's
I'm not talking about
you.
bag. I'm talking about a rear bag, not a rear pack, not pack. I'm talking about bag, like
So
actual shooting bags, like rear support bags. But go ahead.
so yes and no. Depends. Depends on what I'm doing. If I'm like out at night doing predator hunting or something, I don't. But I'm usually in a position where I can't even utilize it anyway. Now,
Hmm.
if I'm heading out on a hunt where like longevity, I know I might have the possibility of taking a longer shot. I always carry tab gear bags. I swear by a tab gear bag. I have loved them from day one. They sell a light fill bag. Like you'll forget you have it. It's so light.
Yeah, they're so light. Yeah.
All it takes is one little bag. Because the only time I'm using a rear bag of any type is generally in the prone.
Hmm.
So for me, like I have a little, I think it's like a 6 to 9 inch light fill bag. It fits in a like it fits anywhere. You put it right in like a water bottle pocket. You could put a carabiner on it, put it right to your belt, and that way it's quick and easy to get to. I would take it, generally I'm not even going to use it because, like
That's why
like
I don't.
I
That's
said,
why I don't carry one. That's why because I might be
it's
shooting off a
so
freaking
light.
stick
Yeah, for me, it's so light that it's worth it for me to have it and not need it than need it and not have it to take that longer shot. But then vice versa, like 99% of the time I've ever shot in the woods or anything, like you're not using a rear bag because you're not in the prone. You're always in a position to
on
shoot
a tree, on a
shoot
tree, on
out
a
a
tree, on a
window.
fence
Like,
line,
yeah,
on your butt, on a rock. I mean, it's just
you're
like,
shooting through a hole in
you
a
know,
wall. You're shooting out a window. You're shooting out of a stand. Like you're shooting off a stump. You're shooting all these different spots. It's never in a prone. Like that's the hardest position to ever be able to find and take a real shot from. It's hard. That's why I always say like work on tripod work. Get a good carbon tripod, something nice and light,
Tricer.
sturdy.
Yeah,
Tricer. Get a
yeah.
nice, sturdy, lightweight tripod. Folds
Mhm,
up real small. I like it because I put it in my side pouch of like my pack. I'll have it in there strapped to my pack. All it is one buckle, and I have a tripod. It's
mhm,
already preset. I already know generally where my settings are. That like I unlock, drop my legs, lock, and I know generally where I have to get to for standing, kneeling, sitting, and then whatever you're shooting in dictates that. If you're in super high grass, like what are you gonna do? Not shoot at something because you've never shot in 4 foot grass? Like, no, I'm gonna put my tripod up and I'm gonna take that shot from the standing. You know,
mhm.
I want that ability.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I made that bipod, right? Because I always had like, I'd have the short bipod, and now I need a long one, or I have the long one, I need a short one, and I just never had the right bipod on my gun. And that's why I made this one. I'm like, I need something that does everything because like you just realize in the field, like you just don't get that prone shot all the time. Even though I did shoot
Yeah,
quite a few animals from the prone this year, um, a lot of times you're just not. You're on a rock or you're up. You're
yeah,
down a hill, up a hill. Like it's just not comfortable to make the shot. Like even the shot I had in Africa this year, if I didn't have this bipod, I would have been stacking backpacks to make the shot because it was uphill 390 yards, and I was like in boulders. Like it's just like I was able to make the bipod. Like one leg was like 18 inches, one leg was like 12 inches, and I was able to get it thing stable. And then I think I used my bino harness in that one, get it real stable on the animal. But it's just like that prone position just is not always perfect. Like my kid did shoot his buck this year prone, but we had like it was 385 yards, and it was like canyon. It was the most beautiful. Like you couldn't have asked for a better spot to be prone, right? Canyon to canyon, flat rock.
oh,
I mean, just
perfect.
it was beautiful. It was just like you couldn't. But most time you don't have that. Most time you're on the decline of a
Side of
hill
a
shooting across.
hill, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what I mean. It's just not there. So
You
and
got to come up with
I
something.
that's why I always emphasize like go out with your gear you're gonna hunt with and go shoot with it in weird positions and go waste ammo. And I know ammo is expensive, you guys, but dude, a $1,200 elk tag that you might only get one shot at, you will not regret spending $500 in ammo. I mean, like burn through.
Yeah.
You should be spending thousands of dollars a year on ammo to go shoot and practice because you're only gonna get one chance. If all you're doing is going to the range, and like I'm good to go. I got a 3/4 inch group or one MOA group at 100 yards. Like you are not ready to go.
Ooh, not at all. I like this guy right here.
Yep,
Pride possession of that was the greatest day of my life in the hunting standpoint. Shot from the standing.
really.
Like it just, yeah, I never in a million years would I have ever been able to pull off a prone shot. It just like you're on stuff that you're holding on to. If you're not holding on to a tree, like you're
You're rolling.
sliding.
Yeah,
Like, show me how you're gonna shoot prone on that. But to caveat off of that, that's why I like that the bipods because with the long legs you can go super wide and get all the way into a low prone position.
yep,
You unlock them, you're in a high kneeling
yeah,
like,
100%.
but now even if you're not kneeling, say you're sitting in that and you throw them up real high. Well, now I'm shooting uphill. You can shoot downhill. Like you could do all these different things. Now you're on the side of a hill having to shoot across side hill on it. Well,
I
now you
did that
got
to a
one
deer.
long leg,
I
one
did that
short
to I
leg.
did that same shot to a deer this year, and one leg was long, one leg was short, and I canted the rifle level, and I was shooting, you understand me, like along a hill, and I killed a buck at
Yep.
295 yards, dropped him in his
Yep.
tracks, and it was like, wow, this works. This is before anyone had the bipod, right? It's
Yeah.
just me prototyping, like, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's how I knew it was gonna sell so good. Is I killed so much stuff with it in every possible position, and I'm like, oh, this thing is going to sell itself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As soon as I saw, because I started seeing everything on Instagram, like I started seeing the promotions coming. The first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh, I need those," because I know those are going with me out west every time I go hunting. You could shoot predators with those things, like anything,
It's an
anything.
awesome predator. It's an awesome predator, bipod, and that's what I made it for. I tell people all the time, like, everyone keeps comparing me to, like, the MDT, which I love those guys, they're a great company, but, like, I didn't make this thing. I didn't hold the thing till, like, 2 weeks ago. Like, I built this thing to be a hunting bipod, not a shooting bipod, for
Yeah.
hunting situations, to kill elk, to kill deer, to kill coyotes. Like, that's what I made it for. Like, I could care less. I mean, like, yes, go use your NRL, go use your PRS, but, like, what it's made for is being a lightweight bipod that'll get the job done
And
on animals,
that's
and that's what I built.
that's
That's all I care
you hit
about,
the
like,
nail on the head.
that's all I care about, like, I could care less what my score as an NRL hunter. All I care about is that when I put my kid in that bipod this year and we're in New Mexico, I can make sure I get him stable enough to kill a deer his first buck. I'm not having to stack 3 backpacks, like my other kids
Yeah.
first. There's just so many situations, dude, with hunting where like this year we are in Utah, right? And there's this buck and he's 100 yards. Like kids can't see it. I'm like 100 yards, he's right there, and the buck takes off, and I'm like, he's like, what do you want me to do? Use your tripod? I'm like, no, use that down tree right there, because and he's like, well, I'll use a tripod. I'm like, no, use the tree because the tree was right there. Like there's so many
It's way
situations
faster.
way
Yeah.
faster, right? And he ended up shooting the buck at like 220 yards through the neck, dropped it in his tracks, and like there's just like we were in. You'll see the video come out soon, and my kid shoots a not an antelope. What are those damn things called? An impala in Africa,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
he's fully extended because we're shooting through a barbed wire fence in 2 foot grass. He's fully extended on the front bipod. The rear is a rear tripod support. And he shoots this impala at 220 yards from the neck, drops it in his tracks. It's just like there's all these things. Like I remember, like my first coos deer, I was jumping back and forth on this hill, and like I ended up shooting it off a barbed wire fence, or I lean up against a tree and you pinch your gun to the tree and shoot off a tree. Like hunting is so unpredictable, and you have to take the shot the animal gives you, not the shot you want most of the time.
Oh, it's almost never the shot you want.
It's off of
Almost
rock,
never.
trees, backpacks, and that's kind of where this whole I'm not doing a bipod commercial, but it's kind of where the bipod came from. It's just from so many years of killing so many animals in so many different positions, and it's realizing like I need something that does all that because like it just there's never it's just, you almost never get that freaking Harris 9-inch bipod shot. You just don't
It's
get it.
I I've had I've had Harris on my guns. I've had a bunch of different bipods on my guns, and I don't know if I've taken more than a handful of shots ever off of bipods. That like low bipods. But
It's hard. I've taken shots off low bipods on top of 3 backpacks. My
yeah,
my
yeah,
kid shot a buck at, like 385 or 380 or something like that, his first mule deer off of, like, I think it was 2 backpacks and a 12-inch bipod at up a hill, you know what I mean, to get the shot?
trying to
So
make
it's
it
just
work.
like you just gotta try and make it work, and you do it. You figure it out and you kill stuff? So,
Yeah,
we're getting close to the end of this thing, dude. We always end with a hunting story. You got a hunting story for us? Wanna tell us about that big bull behind you or what?
yeah, yeah. It was over the counter, public land. It was the archery muzzleloader uh, like combo season. I think it's 10 days. Day two, we had done a bunch of map work, and me and my dad's best friend Troy went up over the mountain to a spot we're looking at. I had a muzzleloader. I think he had a muzzleloader, but it's all open sights, loose powder. Go up and
Oversized loose
over.
powder, 50 caliber. You're in Colorado, I take it.
Yep, yep.
Oh, is that loose
So
powder 50 caliber rifles? Yep, got you.
yep. So we came over the hill, and it was pretty open, and there was just a block of timber, which is where we're heading. We looked into it, and I looked back at him, like trying to make his little noise. I looked at him, was like, yes, like that's the spot if we're gonna get something. We go creeping in, get about 100 yards into it. I let out a cow call, and just hell erupted below us. I was like, oh, he's pissed. So I dropped straight down at him. I checked the wind. It was coming uphill to my left. I bumped like 30 yards off to the left to try and cut him off if he was going to try and wind us. Troy stayed back. He started calling, and I freaking 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Here he comes. I just see antler tips coming through the trees. I was like, oh boy, crack the hammer back, and I'm sitting way downhill as he's coming up the hill at me. He did exactly what I thought. He went left, and he came right in my opening at 30 yards. Didn't even have to stop him. Click, nothing. I
No.
was, I was like, oh,
No primer?
no, I had a primer. The primer went off. All it did was, It just made a pop. Primer went off, never lit the powder. So now I'm frozen because the bull heard it and he stopped, but his head was behind a tree. But his rack was facing me. I knew he heard it, and I'm just frozen. I'm like, dude, he's at 30 yards, and I'm like, dude, what do I do now? He turned away from me and walked downhill. Like you could tell he was cautious, but he didn't know what was going on. As his head crested behind this little roll in the hill, broke the gun down, and I was going up. I ran up to Troy as I'm breaking it down. I ripped the breech plug out. I rammed everything out the back, put the breech plug back in, grabbed a new shot, dumped a new shot in, new primer, closed the gun up. And I checked the wind again. And the whole time, Troy's sitting here cow calling at him, and he's down there like just making bold, like just chuckling and like almost growling. Like he was still fired up, but he just didn't know what that noise was. So I checked the wind. It was coming uphill right. I turned to Troy and went, I gotta go at him. And I think if the wind's going right now, he's gonna try and figure out what we are. He's gonna go right. I started downhill and right away from Troy, and I went about 15 steps. And the bull is standing in an open and looking straight up the hill at me at about 90 yards. I threw it up, and as I came up, clicked the hammer back, and I put it right on the patch, let the hammer go, and gun went off, and I lost him in the smoke. And I was like, don't know. It felt like I felt like I was in a dip can. Like I felt solid, just freehanding it. And I turned around and Troy's like, his eyes are like this. He's like, dude, what happened? I was like, he was standing, looking at us from 90 yards, and went down, no blood. I found exactly where he was because I found where his hoofs pushed. Started trailing his tracks down through this just super thick timber. Made it like 80 yards, maybe 80 yards, and I walked around a corner and he's laying there with his head up. And I was like, oh, no chance. I put another one in him and he rolled down the hill. We ended up having to tie him to trees just so he would stop rolling so we could
Dude,
cape
I've
him.
had
And
dude that they only live where you don't want to be.
oh,
Like
it was
they
up,
only they
up
only
over. Yeah.
die they only die in the worst possible places. I hate elk. Like every time I do it, I'm like, God, I hate you guys. They like they just live in like I tell people all the time, like if you get into a spot and you're like, oh, this looks beautiful, elk are gonna love it here.
No,
No,
they're
like
not
look
there.
for the spot that looks like your worst nightmare. And that's where they're gonna be.
And
That's
go
where they're gonna
past that to the worst spot.
yeah, the worst spot. That's where they're gonna be is in there. And that's I mean, is he a beautiful typical six by or he got seven on one side?
He's a 6x6 with less than 2 inches of deductions. He's like perfectly
Perfect.
even.
I mean,
He's
like with like
beautiful.
320, 330.
He's right at that. I actually never got him like officially scored. The guide taped him out in camp. He said he was like 290, 300 maybe. I'm thinking he's like 290ish to 300.
He's a
No, I
beautiful
never
bull.
got
I
never
can
got
only
him
see his
scored.
right side like half because he's hard quarter and like that. But
Yeah,
it's a beautiful, beautiful, perfect
I
bull. I mean, it's got the big whale tails, looks great, and you got your
he's
bull, dude. That's awesome.
I got him. The next one is with a bow. Now I got to go down that rabbit hole. So
Yeah, you and me both. I've got a handful of them with a rifle, and I just need to do the bow now. I'm turning my bow tag back this year because my kid's got a rifle tag, so I'm gonna turn that back
got to
up to
do
got
it.
the fun. But Zach, man, that was a fun pod, dude. Ghost Firearms
Absolutely.
Training. Stoked to be working with you guys a little bit. Where can we find you guys?
We are on pretty much everything but TikTok. We got banned on there for posting gun stuff. But if you just look up Ghost Firearms Training, it's online. You can sign up for any of the courses. Dates usually come out early January, February timeframe. We're on Instagram. We're on pretty much everything other than TikTok because we got kicked off. So we
Nice. I'll
got a
try and get
YouTube
back there.
channel. Yeah, we've got a
You
YouTube
got,
channel. It's got
yeah.
pretty good YouTube channel. Kind of shows you a little bit of everything we do. We train everything: tac med, carbine classes, long range classes. We teach CQB. We teach everything.
Yeah, it's cool. I should come back, bring a handgun back and some rifles and go back with my CO this back there. I think I have a whitetail lease now in Pennsylvania, so
Okay,
I'm
hell
gonna
yeah.
have to kill a whitetail at some point. So I think we're gonna have a whitetail lease, whatever that means. So I got one of those
There,
now.
there you
Tricer
go.
does. So
There you
so I'll
go.
be back there at some point, Pennsylvania. I'll hang out with you guys. But dude, Zach, thanks again, man. Let's do it again, huh?
I appreciate it. Good talking to you.